The eagle has landed, and it is time for another episode of A Little Off the Top with your host,
Hannah.
And Noah. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe this is the second to last episode of Season 2.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we record. We've got a recording session planned for the finale of Top Cuts Trivia. Team Fayetteville and Team Houston facing off with each other in the heated finale of Top Cuts Trivia. I am very excited about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it will be a lot of fun, too.
I think people are going to enjoy it, and that's going to finish up Season 2. Then we're going to take us a little break for a few weeks and come back after the new year. But we will have a bonus episode, a short episode come out on Christmas Day, so look out for that. We're going to do kind of like we did on Halloween, but much more special in the sense that it's the Christmas story. So we're going to read from Luke and read the Christmas story out for y'all. It'll be a short episode, but I think it'll be good for folks. So that'll be a little bonus episode that doesn't count as part of the season, just for that. Also, want to mention, what do I want to mention, Hannah?
Our giveaway.
That's right. And how do they get joined into that giveaway?
They have to follow the podcast and join us on our Patreon.
That's right. That's the big thing on how we can track is join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes, and a lucky 2 winners are going to win something. So first place is going to be a sticker of our very cool logo for Season 2, as well as a bag of coffee roasted by yours truly. And the second place winner is going to also get a sticker of our very cool logo and a very cute picture drawn by Hannah. So a hand-drawn picture from quite the artist. Your favorite female host out there.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, so join that. We're gonna do a video that we will show us spinning the wheel for everybody, and we're gonna post it on our respective social medias and also on the Patreon, of course. And we'll then get with you privately to get your address and all that good stuff to ship it out to you. So, so that's our giveaway. That ends at the end of the month, so you don't have much longer left when this episode releases. You will have, let's see, this episode is releasing on the 16th, so you will have 2 weeks to join, because the cutoff is the 31st, of course. So the cutoff is the 31st, like I said, and so just get joined in on that. We've been doing an Advent series. We're gonna have a web series that we have batched a ton of recordings from the past called Foodie Drinky Reviewy that will be on there. We're gonna do fun bonus episodes over time. So just get in on that and enjoy that. But Hannah, how's your week been?
It's been really good. I was on call this past weekend.
Right.
And Saturday was busy, but nothing too insane.
Right.
Sunday morning I got called in at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But technically that was only 30 minutes earlier than when I was supposed to be waking up.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah, I was signing on this whole Friday through Sunday, which is we go on air at 6 a.m. So it's a small local radio station, and they're not a 24-hour station. As my boss explained it to somebody when we were talking with them, our broadcasting area has more cows than people, and after 10 p.m. we're just going to be broadcasting to the cows. So so there's just not really any point to staying on past 10, but we sign on at 6 a.m., which means you got to get there at the latest 5:30 to get everything ready and stuff. And so yeah, that means you get up at 5 o'clock. So it's an early morning. It is an early morning, especially when you don't usually work that early, But yeah, it was a good weekend. Everything went pretty smoothly, and Got some things done. Did a lot of cooking this weekend. Had people ordering all kinds of different foods and your dog treats and my coffee and all that stuff. So we've been busy with getting all that done as well. So it's been busy, but it's been good. We get to head home. When this episode comes out, we will be not in the Midwest anymore and in the South for a little while. So go home for Christmas for a couple of weeks and enjoy that. So we got a fun episode here. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
So I won't be on the episode after this. You got an exclusive interview.
I did.
So I'm not going to be here for the rest of the episode. It's an exclusive interview. It's going to be a good one though. I was sitting in on it. I was engineering everything, but we didn't have the microphones for all of that. So I had to sit out. So let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of A Little Off the Top. I'm your host, Hannah, and today we have a guest who needs no introduction. Though, of course, I'll give him one anyway. You know him, you love him, and for one night a year, he's the hardest working man in the world. Yes, folks, we're talking to the one and only Santa Claus. Today, we're diving into the magical history behind this beloved holiday icon. How did a jolly man in a red suit come to represent the spirit of Christmas? Was he always the sleigh riding, reindeer driving, gift bringer we know today? Or did he undergo a transformation over centuries? From St. Nicholas to Coca-Cola ads, we're unpacking the evolution of Santa Claus himself. But no one can tell this story better than the big man himself. But without further ado, let's welcome Santa Claus to the show. Santa, welcome. It's an honor to have you on.
Ho, ho, Merry Christmas. I'm so glad to be here, Hannah. Ho, 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 ho. I've known you since you were just a little lass.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. You've gotten much better over the years, that's for sure. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, me, you asked me on the podcast today, and I don't do this often, so I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. So, we want to know it all the way from the beginning. Can you start there for me?
I sure can. You know, it all starts, actually, my story starts with someone who was not me. Did you know that?
I did know that.
St. Nicholas. So if there's one thing you do know, a lot of people think, how does he get here? If St. Nick is dead, then how is Santa alive? But I tell you what, it all started out with St. Nicholas. He lived in Myra, a city in the province of Asia Minor, which is modern-day Turkey, during the 4th century. His parents died when he was a teenager, and he left him with quite a bit of money. Nicholas then went to live with his uncle, who was a priest, and at some point Nicholas became aware of a man who had 3 daughters but no money to pay their dowries so they could be married. So on 3 separate occasions, Nicholas secretly tossed a bag of gold into the girls' stockings hanging by the fire, thus providing them their dowries. On the 3rd night, the father caught Nicholas delivering the gold, and Nicholas asked the father not to tell anyone about what he'd done. Eventually, guess what?
Nicholas told.
No. Nicholas became the Bishop of Myra.
Oh.
He continued performing generous acts and had a special affinity for children, sailors, and those who were falsely accused. What about those traditions always associated with St. Nick? Like you've heard of like oranges and candy canes and things like that? Well, the oranges are an adaptation of the bag of gold that Nicholas threw into the young woman's stockings. And according to many stories, candy canes are supposed to represent crosiers or bishop staffs, as bishops are the shepherds of God's people.
That's fascinating.
Isn't it? Over time, as word of St. Nicholas's charity, oh, my words, I'm messing them up. I'm so excited to be here. St. Nicholas's charity giving spread, the concept of secretly giving gifts to others grew and took on a life of its own. As people traveled to new lands, they took the concept of the saintly giving gifter. Over time, St. Nicholas transformed into, well, me, modern-day Santa Claus.
So how do you think that transition came to be? What do you think is the most important thing that we see from St. Nicholas that now you represent, Santa Claus? What do you think is the common theme between the two?
I think the common theme is charity and goodwill to man. I think that the whole point of Christmas is to love one another. And really, it's nothing about me. I love being the star of the show, of course, and I love all of my representatives, and we'll talk about them in a little while, but I think all of it goes back to why we celebrate this season, and that's the birth of the little baby Jesus Christ, who was born a man, fully God as well, and who lived on earth bringing peace and goodwill to man. And then he died. And then he rose 3 days later, and that's why we celebrate Easter as well. But, I think I'm the placeholder for that with people who don't quite get into religion. You know what I mean? And it all started with a religious man, a man who saw the point of who Jesus was.
Saw that charity and that love needed to be spread further into the world.
Exactly. That's what we're all here for. We're all here just to love one another and to help one another. And in this season, I've been keeping my eye all over the world. And, I see little things like in a little tiny town called Valentine, Nebraska. They have something they do every year called Fill an Empty Stocking. And this year they've had 22 families sign up with 57 children. And I tell you what,
wow,
that little town has adopted every single one of those little children.
That's awesome.
Isn't it incredible? You see it all over the country. Sometimes Christmas brings out the absolute best in people. Sometimes it brings out the worst in people too, but I think the beauty of the season is seeing the charity that happens right now.
One of my husband and I wish Noah was able to talk to you, but one of my husband and I's favorite traditions every year is we fill out a shoebox for Operation Christmas Child.
Oh, yes.
With Samaritan's Purse.
Yes.
And that has always been something that we've really looked forward to doing, and it's such a neat experience getting to go and pick all of these items out, knowing that one day it's going to end up in the hands of a child that you're never going to meet or you're never going to see, but you're going to bless them.
That's right. That's right. I know about Operation Christmas Child, and Samaritan's Purse does a great thing with that whole project. It's reached millions of kids and millions of families all over the world. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. St. Nicholas, actually, he had a lot of tales about him, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had some tales that supposedly he did a variety of miracles, and obviously we don't know the truth of these. We do know the stories about the bags of gold and the other charities that he did, but supposedly he also resurrected 3 youths at one time.
Oh, wow.
They had been murdered and pickled in a barrel by an innkeeper, and he found out about it. Also, in another tale, he met a poor man who was on the brink of selling his own daughters into slavery. And so, under the cover of darkness, he anonymously threw those 3 bags. That's what the story I told you about earlier. Mm-hmm. Apparently, that man was so poor that he was just going to sell his daughters because he couldn't get them married, and he couldn't keep them either, and so he was going to let them go be slaves because he thought they would have a better life than with him. And St. Nicholas said, I'm not going to let that happen. But from St. Nicholas came a lot of what's the words I'm looking for, charity, but also myths.
Yeah.
Lots of myths and things like that. And we see it all over the world. The English had Father Christmas, and others had SinterKlaas. And the Protestants didn't really like that after the Reformation. They were not okay with Father Christmas or SinterKlaas. And the baby Jesus was promoted as more of the appropriate giver of gifts. And I can see why some religious people would think that way, and people do get distracted by me sometimes. But in Germany, later anglicized as Kris Kringle, I was originally known as Das Kringle. Krindle. I'm not good at German. I'm American, Santa. But anyway, there are many things that I've been called, and also there are many scary versions of me.
Like Krampus?
Krampus is one. There's also one called Fouettard, which is Old Man Whipper. There's Pelschnickel, which is Furry Nicholas, which is, I believe, the parody that The Office did with Belschnickel. I think they were coming from Pelschnickel. Anyway, I don't know. And Necht Rupert, which is Farmhand Rupert, and they're all known as kind of anti-versions of me.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting history behind me. Actually, I'm not fully aware of all of it, and I'm learning as we go. How's that?
That's something else.
Yeah, let's keep going. You know, I was not fully ready for this podcast. It's obviously a very busy season for me, and so I'm sorry that I'm not the best prepared here. I'm going to be honest with you, Hannah. I'm not used to one-on-one situations. I'm used to kids and groups, and I'm not used to talking a lot.
Yeah, I guess you are used to listening, aren't you?
I'm much more used to listening.
But you have to give directions and stuff to all of the elves that you have working for you, right?
I did early on. I tell you what, though, they've got it like a well-oiled machine
I bet
now.
they do.
I really just keep the records, and I'm just the face of the franchise, if we're honest.
Are you still the one who checks the list?
I check the list. I check it twice. Actually, I'll tell you what. I check it 3 times.
You check it 3 times.
I'm a thorough man.
Yeah.
Mrs. Claus says that I'm too much of a perfectionist, if we're honest. And she says I'm really hard on myself, too. But
I could see that.
But I do tell you, I tell you what, I honestly, Mrs. Claus gives a lot more direction these days.
Oh, so we got a woman running the show.
Well, yes, in some ways, for sure, she does run the show. She has from the beginning, if we're honest. She's the better half of me. So
that's sweet.
Well, it's true. But I can tell you this. I've got some more facts. We'll keep going along. I did hear that Noah had an idea about something. I don't know.
Yeah. So we do this really fun thing, or at least we've done it a couple of times now. Do you watch football?
I do.
You do. Okay. So you know what the draft is.
Yeah.
Correct?
Can you guess what my favorite team is?
Well, there's nothing that's reindeer themed.
No, but there is a thing that's named after my origin.
So the Saints?
Oh, that's right, the Saints.
That's funny. You and Noah sharing that.
Yeah, who dat? Who dat? Who dat?
So we were talking, and let's do a draft about things that are traditionally associated with Christmas.
Okay.
And obviously that means different things to different people.
Right,
and I'm interested to see what all you associate with Christmas. But your top 5 things, and then I'll let you go first since you're my guest.
Okay.
And then I'll go and back and forth to our top 5.
Noah, do you want to get into this? Yeah, I don't have a microphone though, so I'll just yell them.
It's a good thing you're loud.
I can be pretty loud too, but I'll give you an example in a little while of my most hearty ho ho ho. Okay. But I will say this, the way that you guys picture me, beard, the red, all of that stuff, that actually goes back to, in 1821, an anonymous illustrated poem called Old Santa Claus, with much delight, introduced my red coat, reindeer, and sleigh, and put my arrival on Christmas Eve rather than St. Nicholas's Day. 2 years later, Clement Clark Moore, a professor of Hebrew, embellished the legend in his poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as the night before Christmas.
Oh, nice.
So in it, St. Nick, me, I got my bushy beard and a whole herd of my magical flying reindeer. What's your favorite reindeer?
Right off the top of my head?
And don't say Rudolph.
No, I've always liked Prancer.
Oh, Prancer. Okay. I've always liked Donner.
Okay. Any particular reason?
I just like the name.
Okay.
I liked that one.
Which one is the easiest to get along with?
Well, Rudolph's a diva.
I can see that.
Yeah, Rudolph's a diva. Blitzen, not too smart in the head, but really soft and easy to get along with.
Okay.
Donner is very easy to get along with as well. Vixen, we've had some problems with her. We actually keep her in a separate stall from all the other reindeer because, well, she lives up to her name. Let's just put it that way. But she's a beautiful reindeer. And then let's see. We've got who else? Who else is there? I think Blitzen's probably the easiest to get along with.
Okay.
Donner's the overall in the sense that he's smart and he's easy to get along with. But Blitzen, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's not the biggest antlers in the herd, but he helps. He helps. He's very nice. He's kind of like when you have a big dog who's small brain, big heart.
Yeah.
It's great. He's cuddly. Would you?
So he's kind of the lab of the.
Yeah, he really is. He's sweet. He's sweet. I'd even call him not necessarily a lab, more like a bulldog.
Okay.
Because he's one of the bigger ones. He really pulls a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's why I got his name Blitzen.
Yeah. So Cupid.
Yeah, Cupid.
Is Cupid as loving as you would assume from his name?
So Cupid actually, when he was younger, yes. Now
is he getting grumpy?
He's a curmudgeon.
Oh.
I tell you what. And part of it is because I had to separate him and Vixen. Vixen, they had an on-again, off-again thing. You'd be surprised. They're animals, but they're smart. They sneak off. Mm-hmm. I tell you what. I don't feed them the best grain there is and all those things. And I pamper them and I have them the most top of the line stables and still Vixen and Cupid trying to sneak out of their stalls. It's ridiculous.
Well, they were kind of predestined with their names.
I guess so. You can blame Mrs. Claus for that one.
She knew. She knew.
She saw love.
Is Comet still the fastest?
Comet is, yes. Even though he's getting a little bit up in age, he is lightning fast. He has not lost a step in any of his days.
That's cool.
Yeah, very, very cool.
What are the reindeer's favorite snacks?
So they love carrots. Mm-hmm. They do love carrots, of course.
Is that what kids should be leaving out as a little snack?
Or apples. Carrots or apples. They love both of those, and they love oats, of course. I mean, those are the natural things, but I don't want kids to leave out dry oats. That's weird.
That and a little hard to eat on the go.
Sure. Yeah, I feed them throughout the night. They have a busy night, but I do feed them throughout the night. Kids are starting to learn they need little snacks out for them as well, and that's very nice. The cookies for me, I will say this to whoever listens to this. If you could give me a few more sugar-free options, I start getting kind of sluggish by the end of the night. It's a lot of sugar. And some Fairlife milk, please, for the protein.
Ooh, some good Fairlife chocolate milk.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. Or you could even put out a protein shake.
Yeah.
A little bit of protein would help to cut all that sugar. I tell you what. All right. Well, I can keep going. You just had some questions, so I wanted to leave room for you.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. It's okay.
So what is your number one pick for your draft?
Oh, we're already getting into it.
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't realize we were getting straight into it. I think I've listened to some podcasts of yours, and I think there's a thing that Noah likes to put in right there. Noah, did you take care of that yet? No, just give me a second, please. Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. There you go. Now it's in there. Oh, I heard it. I love that sound. So it's my first pick.
Yes.
Of the I remember how you did this for the Thanksgiving. It was the official 2024 A Little Off the Top Christmas draft, right?
That's right.
So my number one pick, I think you got to know what it is. Santa Claus. That's my number one pick. It's a little conceited, I know, but I gotta give it out for all my helpers out there.
Yes, absolutely.
All of my helpers, the professional Santas all over the world, and I do want to talk a little bit about that in a little while.
Okay.
There's actually associations of that and a fraternity.
Wow.
So my first pick, I got to go Santa Claus.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Of course.
So, my first pick, I'm going to go Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. I
Yep.
do like lights.
One of my favorite things to do is to drive around a neighborhood and look at all of the Christmas lights.
Yes.
And in fact, on our way back home, or back from home to where we're at here in Nebraska,
Yes.
we're going to the caverns in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's called the Louisville Mega Cavern. Oh, I know about the Mega Caverns. It's beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
It's very neat. Did you know they actually do? You can drive your own tour, but they also now have a guided tour that people like you
I
ride
didn't
on
know
something.
that.
Yeah, they look kind of like from what I can see. Obviously, I'm way up high and they're in a cave, but I can see as they're driving in. It's kind of like Jeeps type of thing, like open top Jeep
That's
situation. Seems like it'd be kind of cold, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know about the cold too.
Yeah. We'll probably just drive ourselves through because we
Yes,
travel
yes,
with our dog.
Yes.
And she
yes.
loves the Christmas lights.
Are you talking about your baby, Eowyn?
I am.
Oh, I know Eowyn.
Yeah, sometimes she flip-flops between your naughty and nice list.
She sure does. So it's you've got Christmas lights. Noah, what do you want? I think I got to go with. That's a hard one. I think I'm gonna go with. Why don't you just take the microphone for a second?
Oh, thanks, Santa. That's really nice of you to do. I think I'm gonna go with shoot. What am I gonna go with? I never had one of these before this year, but I'm gonna go with Advent calendars. That's my number one pick of the Christmas draft. I think that's pretty fun. It's been pretty fun. I've had a Lego Star Wars Advent calendar, and that's been really fun. So yeah. Santa, I'm going to give you back the mic, and I'm not going to take it back anymore after that because it's going to be real hard for editing stuff. Oh, I didn't want to make it harder on you.
Oh, terribly sorry. No, I didn't want to make it harder on you. Is it my turn again, Hannah?
It is your turn again.
Oh, well, I know what I'm going to go with.
All right.
And it is hot cocoa. That is my number 2 pick.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah. I love it when a kid leaves some hot cocoa out. And obviously, it's usually cold by the time I get to it, but with my little bit of magic, I can light it right back up real quick. Some cookies with hot cocoa is, whew.
I bet.
It's good.
That sounds good.
It's good.
I'm going to go Christmas music. Just from I start listening probably mid-November.
Okay.
through December.
Well, for me, it's Christmas season all year round, so I understand.
Yeah. But I have to listen to it sparingly because sometimes my husband can be a little bit of a Grinch about Christmas music.
No.
Yes.
No. Hold on. I don't even have a mic to defend myself. I am not a Grinch about Christmas music, thank you. I play a lot of the same Christmas music every year. So it's just easier when, I get a little tired of it when it starts real early. But I'm not a Grinch about it, and I love Christmas a lot more since you and I have gotten together.
He's a Grinch about it.
Oh, now, Hannah.
I'm just kidding. It's fun to give him a hard time. It's how I show love.
I know. I think he knows, too.
He does.
Oh, no. What do you think? I think I'm going to go with... Oh. So you took hot chocolate. I like hot chocolate a lot, but I think I'm gonna go with probably that feeling when you're a kid of opening the first present on Christmas Day.
That's a good one.
I do like that one, of course. I'm a little partial to the gift part of Christmas.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, I love receiving a gift or two. Obviously when kids come through the line, they give me things here and there. But my number 3 pick, and I probably should have thought of it at number 1. I got a little conceited at the top of it, but it's giving gifts.
Dang it, that was going to be my next
Giving
one.
gifts at Christmas is great.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not there when the kids open the gifts, but I can feel the warmth all around.
Yeah.
Because they're opening gifts while I'm still delivering to some areas, so it's a strenuous schedule, I will say.
Yeah, it's a very tight schedule you
sure
run
is.
there.
It sure is, I tell you what. That was my number 3 pick.
Okay.
So that's your turn.
Oh, number 3. Decorating the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was something that my mom and I always did together. And I love it. It's always been one of my favorite things to do. Normally I will pull out all of my Christmas decorations on November 1st. Obviously life is a little different now that Noah and I travel. Just because I'm not traveling with all of that and decorating the places that we're renting. That's just way too much.
Yeah.
But I am excited that one day when we settle down and have a place of our own, that I'll be able to pick that tradition back up. But yeah, very much decorating the Christmas tree.
That's a very good one. Noah, what do you have?
I think I'm gonna say football on Christmas Day. Gathering around to watch football together on Christmas Day. There's usually an NFL game going on, kind of like on Thanksgiving, and it's just really fun, after you've had all the festivities and stuff like that. Either football or / going to a movie. So like joining together with the family to watch something together is really fun, whether it be a movie or football, or a best case scenario, why not both?
Why not both is right. I think one more.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to run the show here.
No. I think 4 is fair.
Yeah, I think 4 is good.
So I think you've got.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Well, I got to put this in my draft, of course, and it's the cookies I get. It's the holiday treats.
Yeah.
Holiday treats. I do like some holiday treats, and I know the two of you can't quite have the same treats, but luckily in today's day and age, there are lots of things that are available for people who can't take in as much sugar and things like that.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of sugar-free alternatives. Yeah. It's very nice.
And that's why I'm asking for a little bit more sugar-free options.
So we can keep up the energy.
That's right.
So, I don't know, maybe this should have been higher in my draft, but just getting together with family. I come from a kind of big, kind of chaotic, kind of crazy family, but we've always either gotten together on Christmas or Christmas Eve, sometimes both, just depending on how everyone's schedule is looking. And I love that. This year we're doing things a little bit different. We're getting together on the 20th instead of the 25th. My aunt and my cousin are going out of town for the week of Christmas, but regardless of what day it's on, I'm just very much excited to get together and see everybody and give them the special little gifts that Noah and I have picked out or made for them.
Yeah.
It's my turn, isn't
Yep,
it?
it's your turn.
Sorry, I was mid-thought trying to think of what my last pick was. I think I'm gonna go with holiday coffee drinks as my last thing. So like Santa did hot cocoa, I know, but for me, I think it's the holiday drinks. So usually there's like peppermint mocha or white chocolate peppermint or like a praline type of drink.
Gingerbread.
Gingerbread. I'm not huge on gingerbread, but like holiday drinks in general, a lot of them are really good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. White chocolate peppermint is my favorite of the holiday drinks.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I've heard of this protein powder.
Yeah.
Clean Simple Eats.
Yeah.
They have a holiday.
Phenomenal.
It is very good. Oh, it's very good. Actually, I've tried a few of those because I've been trying to, with all the cookies, you got to be pretty healthy a lot of the rest of the year. And I will say, they're all good. They're all good. So, do you want a little more history of Santa to keep things going here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I've done a little more research here and a little more looking, and I will say, so a lot of historians think that Santa Claus first stepped foot into England in 1864 when he featured alongside Father Christmas in a story by the American author Suzanne Warner. In her tale, Santa Claus brought Christmas, while Father Christmas appeared in a mummer's play, and there's evidence in the 1860s other beings, such as fairies, were responsible for clandestine Christmas gifts. But the new legend of Santa Claus soon displaced the fairies, much to the confusion of English folklorists in the 1870s, who were at a loss to explain the emerging tradition. One, a Mr. Edwin Lees, wrote a letter to Notes and Query in 1879 where he said, "On Christmas Eve, when the inmates of a house in the country retire to bed, all those desirous of a present place a stocking inside the door of their bedroom, with the expectation that some mythical being called SinterKlaas will fill this stocking or place something within it before morning. From what region of the earth or air this benevolent Santa Claus takes flight, I have not been able to ascertain." Oh, that was a take on my British accent. By the 1880s, Santa Claus had almost completely merged with Father Christmas and was popular across all parts of the country. And in 1883, the Oxford Dictionary of English Folklore notes that a French visitor to England said it was a matter of common knowledge that Father Christmas came down chimneys to put toys and sweets in stockings. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
And did you know that it was, I believe, the Dutch that brought Santa Claus to the Americas?
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
That is interesting. So SinterKlaas, St. Nicholas made his first inroads into American popular culture towards the end of the 18th century. In December of 1773 and again in 1774, a New York newspaper reported that groups of Dutch families had gathered to honor the anniversary of his death. The name Santa Claus evolved from Nick's Dutch nickname SinterKlaas, a shortened form of Saint Nicholas, which is obviously Dutch for St. Nicholas. In 1804, John Pintard, a member of the New York Historical Society, distributed woodcuts of St. Nicholas at the Society's annual meeting. The background of the engraving contains now familiar Santa images, including stockings filled with toys and fruit hung over a fireplace. In 1809, Washington Irving helped to popularize the SinterKlaas stories when he referred to St. Nicholas as the patron saint of New York in his book, The History of New York. As his prominence grew, SinterKlaas was described as everything from a rascal with a blue three-cornered hat, red waistcoat, and yellow stockings to a man wearing a broad-brimmed hat and a huge pair of, quote, Flemish trunk hose. And now, a big part of what we know as Santa is a lot of it now, when we think of Santa Claus, is the shopping mall Santas. So I'm first going to talk a little bit about how the lore of Mrs. Claus, and then we'll get into professional Santas for a while. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
So modern Christmas lore is expansive enough to fill an encyclopedia. We've got songs about reindeers and snowmen and weird elves is what they have to say in letters to Santa, which I will say the elves are not weird. They're very helpful and hardworking. But what do we really know about Mrs. Claus, my wonderful wife? Marriage is a relatively new gig for Santa, what people know of. Of course, there is no original incarnation of St. Nicholas having a wife, as he was a bishop. And it's not impossible that he had a wife, but by the end of the 18th century, the bishop had, like we've said, he transitioned into the behavior monitor, jolly maker, and bringer of toys. But even mythological love affairs don't just pop up overnight. It would be years and years before I found my lady. The first mention of Mrs. Claus appears in an 1849 short story titled A Christmas Legend by missionary James Rees, in which a couple disguise themselves angel-like as travelers and seek shelter with a family. As it turns out, the two strangers are not the Clauses at all, but long-lost family members in double disguise. Still, real or not real, Rees had created a legend. Over the next few decades, the legend took shape. Mentions of Mrs. Claus appeared in short stories, poems, and songs. She also began accompanying her husband to Christmas parties, and some reported that she dressed in red. Others, like architect narrator E.C. Gardner in his 1887 fanciful essay, A Hickory Backlog, decked her out in green and plaid while simultaneously debating himself about her existence. He quotes, it's quoted, if there is a patron saint who presides over this day, which the nation devotes to feasting and giving thanks, as Santa Claus provides over the Christmas holidays, and if he has a wife, which of course he must have, or he can't be much of a saint, then this was the person who stood before me. That person, keen and nervous, but helpful, has come to the narrator with a list of complaints about the hazards of contemporary kitchen design, and she intends to get through the entire thing. Several times the architect attempts to speak. Each time Mrs. Claus smacks him down and says, "Don't interrupt me." Perhaps as a foil for Santa's benevolence and cheer, Mrs. Claus continued to develop a blunt, take-charge attitude. Like I said earlier, she is very much the head of things, and while often sweet and helpful, she was also feisty. The Mrs. Claus of America the Beautiful writer Catherine Lee Bates, in 1889, her poem Goody Santa Claus on a Sleigh Ride, demands to accompany her husband on his rounds and wants to deliver the toys herself, which, by the way, Mrs. Claus did do that with me for a while, but we've decided it's a bit much to have us both go and leave everything behind. But would you like to hear that short poem?
Yes, let's hear it.
Okay. Home to womankind is suited? Nonsense, good man. Let our fruited orchards answer for the value of a woman out of doors. Why then bid me chase the thunder while the roof you're safely under? All to fashion firecrackers with the lighting in their cores? See, I've fetched my snowflake bonnet with the sunrise ribbons on it. I've not worn it since we fled from fairyland our wedding day. How we sped through iceberg porches with the northern lights for torches. You were young and slender, Santa, and we had this very sleigh. Jump in quick then, that's my bonnie. Hey down, dairy, nonny, while I tie your fur cap closer, I will kiss your ruddy chin. I'm so pleased I fall to singing just as sleigh bells take to ringing. Are the cloud-spun lap robes ready? Tira-lira, tuck me in. And you know what? I did. Over the last 100+ years, Mrs. Claus seemed to have mellowed, and these days she's often depicted as a plump, cheerful helpmeet, filling Santa's thermos with cocoa and waving goodbye as my sleigh ascends. But no marriage is that simple. Mrs. Claus is a fireball for sure.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? It's just like I said, she's quite the firecracker. So, professional Santas. Let's talk about them a little bit. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. So, did you know that there's an association for professional Santas?
I did not.
There is. There are many, actually, but the biggest few are the International Brotherhood of Real Bearded Santas, the IBRBS, which represents Santas internationally. There's also the New England Santa Society, and I believe my favorite of them all, the Fraternal Order of Real Bearded Santas, a California-based group serving St. Nick's in the Southwest.
That's cool.
Isn't it? So there are some benefits for these fellas joining them. In an episode of the Comedy Central show Nathan For You, that highlights background checks are important for Santas because they work directly with children.
Of course.
Santa groups generally offer inexpensive background checks as a member benefit, as well as the option to purchase an insurance policy that provides up to $2 million in coverage. And the IBRBS, meanwhile, also offers scholarships to its members and their children.
Huh.
So a lot of people wonder, what does it take to be a Santa?
Yeah.
Well, in 2017, the Fraternal Order of Real Bearded Santa's president, Santa Bob Callahan, noted to Time magazine that it's necessary to embrace the fact that you're going to be Santa all 12 months of the year, whether you like it or not. He said, "We're Santa 24 hours a day. If I go to the grocery store, I can't be off stage. Kids look at me and they know." There's also the matter of the suit, which the Time article notes can cost as much as $1,000 on its own.
Goodness.
Not counting accessories such as the belt, which can go for hundreds of dollars themselves. And also, we do have very fun meetups with each other. For many years, the Forbes, the Fraternal Order, was known to hold a Santa reunion for its members at Knott's Berry Farm in Southern California. And the timepiece notes they've recently extended their get-togethers to baseball games. They're not alone either. For example, members of the New England Santa Society meet up at a restaurant every single month, according to a local news source. As Santa, you never get to see anybody else work, so it was an opportunity to get together, share ideas, and just get to know each other, NESS President Dan Greenleaf noted to the outlet.
That's cool.
Now, we do have some conflicts sometimes.
Yeah.
So there was a documentary release called I Am Santa Claus in 2014, and there are some boardroom conflicts that we saw in that documentary. The competition between Santa groups can be pretty brutal. Take the tale of the two competing Amalgamated Order of Real Bearded Santa groups, one of which claims that the other is a scam. The conflict, a subject of the OC Weekly cover story and a 2008 This American Life episode, is anything but a merry tale, and it has plenty of potential appeal. In the past, it's been rumored that indie filmmaker Mike White was working on a film based on the story, though we've not seen anything surfaced of it yet. Actually, we have. It's the documentary I Am Santa Claus, where he talks about the feud between the two groups, which I think misrepresents what we stand for. But professional Santas, you're probably wondering what they make typically.
Yeah.
So the median hourly pay of a mall Santa is $30.
Wow.
But some make even more. According to Santa booking agency operator Dan Greenleaf, who also serves as the president of NESS, some guys are getting $500 an hour at times.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that crazy? All to represent little old me.
That's wild.
So, you want to know how this all started?
Let's hear it.
All right. In 1861, Santa makes his debut visiting children in department stores at Macy's on 34th Street in New York. And this continued for 159 years straight, all the way until the 2020 and 2021 seasons affected things.
Yeah.
In 1890, James Edgar, also known as Colonel Jim, has the idea to get a Santa costume tailored and fitted to greet children with joyous cheer at his department store in Boston. Many witnesses described seeing Santa for the first time in person as a, quote, dream come true. Although this was a spontaneous decision meant to only last a day, word spread quickly that Santa was at the local department store, and by the end of the week, children were lined up outside the store with their families impatiently waiting to see and talk to Santa. This was monumental for Santa history, as Edgar set an ongoing trend for Santa meet and greets. And in 1891, due to the popularity in the previous years, stores all across the country began doing this. And in 1937, just a few key things from early on in these professional Santa things. Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School, located in Midland, Michigan, is established as a school on a mission to make a better Santa by providing a 3-day crash course. And I tell you what, it's still running. The school teaches students how to be a successful Santa by covering topics such as professional Santa attire, the art of being a true Santa, and more.
That's really cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
In 1943, pictures with Santa officially became a hot commodity. During a Santa meet and greet at the Seattle-based department store Frederick and Nelson, Arthur French, a staff photographer at the local Seattle newspaper, was so touched at the sight of children eagerly meeting Santa that he decided to snap a picture of the moment. This spur-of-the-moment decision changed history and popularized taking pictures with Santa. French began charging people $1 per picture, successfully making $10,000 in December of 1943. 3 years later, in 1946, French quit the newspaper he was working at and launched his own photography business. And all of that was the perfect ingredients for the best recipe when malls became popularized in the 1950s, and it was soon evident that shopping centers were the perfect place to advertise Santa, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
That is really cool.
Well, I tell you what, this has been quite a time, Hannah.
Well, I'm so glad that you've enjoyed your time here. We've very much enjoyed having you.
Absolutely, and I've enjoyed it too.
Good.
So I think I'm going to have to go on my merry way now.
All right.
And
I
say
know
goodbye
you're
to
very
you.
busy.
I am quite busy. I'm glad I was able to carve out part of my schedule for this, though.
Yeah, me too.
So, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm going to go now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Well, now I'm just flabbergasted. We had Santa in the studio.
I know. I'm so awestruck.
Yeah,
It's like meeting a celebrity.
It was pretty cool.
Just he was really cool.
It was very cool. Very nice to have him.
Yeah.
He's got a deep voice.
He does have a deep voice.
Yeah.
He's so sweet.
He is. He's very, very nice. How did it feel?
Interviewing someone that important?
Yeah.
It was
and learning from him a little bit.
It was really cool. Like it's one of those experiences that I will never forget.
Yeah. You know, it's really cool because for me, growing up, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Santa's not real," and yada yada yada, and I was like, "Santa is real.
Mm-hmm.
He's my grandpa." Because my grandpa looked
so much like him.
He looked like the stereotype
Yeah.
of Santa. So
see, I wasn't raised with Santa.
Right, that's true. And now you got to meet the real guy.
I did.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Pretty cool. Well, this has been a special episode, a little different for me, not being in front of the mic the whole time, but it was.
I'm sure they heard you just fine.
Yeah, I edited up those spots that where they can hear me a little better now. I was talking pretty loud, but he didn't give us a loud ho ho ho.
No, he didn't. Maybe if we call him, we can get a recording of it.
Yeah, let me see real quick. Let me hold on a second.
Okay.
Santa's Workshop, how can I help you?
Hey, my name's Hannah. I am one of the hosts of the podcast that SinterKlaas so graciously agreed to come and be with us
Yeah, a little
on
off the
today.
top. Yeah,
Yeah.
we play that in the workshop, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he had
I'm
told
not really
us.
that big of a fan, but I'm also kind of a factual person, so
Oh, okay.
I'm not big into comedy. I listen to actually nonfiction science podcasts.
Oh, okay.
I'm big into science and God. Actually, it's kind of a weird conundrum.
Yeah.
I also like Stephen King. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be answering the phone. Hold on, please hold.
And now I'm on hold. Whew, that was something.
I heard that you were calling, Hannah.
Yeah. Hey, Santa.
Hey.
So
sorry. Hold on. Sorry for Michael. He's different. He's not supposed to answer the phone.
That's okay. He was sweet.
Okay.
So
Sure. Sorry.
So you had promised that you were going to show us your deep ho 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 belly laugh.
Oh my goodness.
And
I'm so sorry I forgot.
Yeah, we got busy and it slipped both of our minds.
Yes, okay. Well, you want it?
Yes.
Okay, let me, I'm going to back away from the phone a little bit because it gets pretty loud, okay?
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Ha 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 ho! Merry Christmas! Ho 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 ho! Is that good enough for you?
That was perfect. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, we got him. We got him on,
Mm-hmm.
and he did his ho ho ho.
He did.
Let's wrap this episode up.
All right.
All right. That's going to do it for another episode of A Little Off the Top with your host,
Hannah.
And Noah. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed the podcast, share it, give it 5 stars, join the Patreon. Don't forget about the Patreon. The link is in the show notes. And also, if they didn't like it, what do they do, Hannah?
Well, still rate us 5 stars and share it with friends that have a better sense of humor than you. I'm just kidding. No, if you don't like it, just scroll away. There's plenty of other places that you can look for podcasts.
There's a million other podcasts out there. So, all right, that's going to do it for another episode of A Little Off the Top. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.